Thank you very much.
Malala Yousafzai and Ziauddin, welcome to the 92nd Street Y here in New York.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
You have obviously a riveting story, and everybody here can't wait to hear from you. Take you back to that incredible day a year ago. Do you remember, Malala, what happened to you on that bus when somebody asked your friends, "Who is Malala?"
I don't remember what happened on that day when that man came. We may call him a boy. There were two guys on that day, and usually there are many people on that road, and like we are just living at that. Usually, like it's a normal life, but on that day, there were only two boys, and they stopped our school bus. And the driver, Usman Bhaijan, he was thinking that they might be asking any question, asking about their sister. And that one boy was talking to the driver, and another boy, he came at the back. And he was just as near to me as, maybe you're quite far away, but he was very near to me. And he asked, "Who is Malala?" All the girls, they got furious. No one could understand what he's saying because we were thinking about our next day exam paper. And on that day, we were having a gossip, who would get the high marks, who would get the lower marks. And we had like, we were sad on the day because we said, I got less marks and she got high marks in the exam. So we were not expecting that we are not going back home. Even I was not expecting that the journey that I have started to go back home will end up in a hospital in Birmingham. So he asked, "Who is Malala?" He did not give me time to answer his question. And my friend told me, my best friend Muniba, that at that time you just squeezed my hand, you just pushed it with force, and you did not say anything. And then in the next few seconds, he fired 3 bullets. One bullet hit me in the left side of my forehead, just above here, and it went down through my neck and into my shoulder. And I think I was hit by only one bullet, and it also affected my eardrum, so now I have problem in listening as well. It also cut down my facial nerve. But still, if I look at it, it's a miracle. My brain is saved, my spinal cord is saved, everything is fine, I am alive, and I still can talk, I can smile, so I thank God for that. And my 2 other friends, Kainat and Shazia, they were also shot in their shoulders. So when I heard that Shazia and Kainat were also shot with me, that was a really sad news for me, because if I was shot, that was fine for me, but I was then feeling guilty that why they have been the target. So it was really sad for me to hear.
But cast your mind back to that hospital room now in Birmingham after having survived, having been rescued by the Pakistani doctors. An English doctor said that if you didn't get moved, you would die because the aftercare was not good, and that you may even have been brain damaged. And she convinced the authorities to fly you to her hospital in Birmingham. But what was it like when you woke up, finally, after all that trauma? What did you discover in that hospital room? Who was with you? What was it like to be awake again?
I describe it very simply that the last day of my school, thinking about going back home, and then the 7 days coma, a journey, and I did not went back to my house, my sweet home, but rather I saw myself in a hospital in Birmingham. When I opened my eyes, I was aware of 2-3 things. The first thing was that, yes, Malala, you were shot. The dreams that you were having and the thoughts that you had in your mind, that were true. Because in my dreams, there were some pictures of being shot and then lying in a stretcher and feeling apart from school, feeling apart from home. And I tried to wake up, I tried to get up, but I couldn't. And I was also telling myself that, Malala, last night when you slept, you're still in your dreams, you haven't woken up. So those 7 days coma and unconsciousness, that was really hard. But when I woke up, I realized that now I am not in Pakistan. the nurses and doctors, everyone was speaking in English. Then the first thing I did was that I thanked Allah, I thanked God, because I was surviving, I was living. And you know, I cannot explain it, how happy I was, how much happy. I cannot explain it, because I was very happy when I saw myself alive, and when I saw that I am living and I'm surviving. And then I was thinking about my father and my mother as well. And I could not speak at that time because there was a tube in my neck that was breathing for me. So I asked for a pen and a paper from the nurse, and I wrote to many doctors. I did it a lot of times, and I wrote to them, where is my father and my mother? And so they told me that your father is safe, and he will come soon as possible. And the second question that was really important for me, and about which I was thinking, that who will pay for me? Because I don't have money. And I also knew that my father is running a school, but the buildings of the schools are on rent, the home is on rent, and he cannot sell his school. So that's simple. And then I thought, like, okay, so your father has a land in a village. He can sell it. But I said, it is just a very few amount of money. Then I was thinking he might be asking people for loan. So that's why I thought that, that is why I thought that my father wasn't in Birmingham. I didn't know in detail what was happening there in Birmingham. I didn't even know that my father knows Malala was shot. I thought that someone shot me. I was lying on the roadside, and then the doctor whom I saw for the first time in the hospital, I thought that that doctor has just put me in on a seat in an aeroplane, and then he just brought me to Birmingham. I didn't know that the whole world was praying for me and are still praying for me. They are supporting me. And now I believe that when people pray to God for life, God gives. God is really honest. God listens to his people's voice. So,
what do you think it is about you that caused the whole world to pray for you, and the whole world to light candles when you were wounded, and the whole world to wish for you to be here today?
I think I must ask the whole world that why did they pray for me?
Interesting.
The first thing is that it shows humanity, it shows love, it shows friendship, and it shows harmony. Because not only the people of Pakistan, not only Muslims, not only Pashtuns, but everyone prayed for me. It did not matter what religion they had. If they were Christians, they were Jews, they did not even have religion, but they prayed for me, and they prayed for my new life.
Do you think, though, that it was not just because you're a lovely girl, but because you had a fundamental mission, and that you spoke out about it in the most unusual way? What was it that you were thinking before all of this? What was your life about in terms of education, in terms of being prepared to defy the very violent opposition that you were facing?
At that time, when we were facing terrorism in Swat, and especially in 2009, the Radio Mullah, which we call him, he announced on radio that from the 15th of January 2009, no girl is allowed to go to school.
No girls to school.
No girl is allowed to go to school. And if she goes, then you know what we can do. So that was his threat. What they did, they used to flog girls, they used to flog women. They also slaughtered people in the squares of Mingora. They treated people like animals. Usually on Big Eid, we celebrate 2 Eid in a year. On Big Eid, they say that usually we slaughter animals with 4 legs. But this time we are going to slaughter animals, calling human beings, with 2 legs. And they did bomb blasts in mosques. They did not even respect the mosques. At that time, they blasted more than 400 schools. And in the whole province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, they have blasted 1,500 schools. Now you can imagine how much education is affected in Pakistan and in Swat. At that time, I did not want to be silent, because I had to live in that situation forever. And it was a better idea, because otherwise they were going to kill us. So it was a better idea to speak and then be killed. So I said, I'll speak up for my rights. I learned from my father. I learned from some other people who were speaking at that time. And I said that even though I'm a small child, my voice would not have that much power. It would not be that much strong. It would be immature kind of voice, but I will speak. And there are different ways that you can speak through. Through interviews, through writing articles in newspapers, through writing blog. And media at that time played a vital role because the world was not aware what was happening in Swat. We spoke, we raised our voice, media transported our voice, and the whole world were listening to it. And that is why you can see that Swat is now a peaceful place. And I invite all of you to go there. There is no terrorism, I can make sure. It's 14 and then 15. I thought I'm just growing up. And then I could also see threats on the internet. And then at that time I used to think, Malala, if a Talib comes, what would you do? I usually prepare myself. I don't say like, I'm going to stop this campaign and no more speak. I said, okay, if he comes, then what are you going to do? Plan that. So I used to think that if you, like I was thinking, having a picture in my mind, I'm going back home and a Talib comes and he has a gun and he wants to shoot me. So I said that, first I thought that I would just take my shoes and hit him. But then I said, if I hit him with a shoe, and if I become cruel to him, it means that there is no difference between me and that Talib. He's also choosing a harsh way for his goal, so I shall not use that harsh way. Then I said, Malala, speak to him what you have in your heart. Speak to him that you even want education for their children. You even want to have peace for their family as well, because we never thought about their families, how would their wives would be feeling, how their daughters would be feeling, how their mothers would be feeling, how hard it would be for them. Because when they leave home, when they go for their own made jihad, how the feelings of their mother would be. Because they say that we are going to fight for Islam. So I think we also must think about them. And
did you ever have a premonition? Did you ever feel that you were in danger?
Actually, I was worried about my father because I was not expecting Taliban to come for me. Yeah. I thought that they might have a little bit manners and the behavior would be, somehow they would be like humans. So that's why I was not expecting them to come for me. But then later on, that's why I want to tell Taliban that be peaceful, and the real jihad is to fight through pens and to fight through your words. Do that jihad, and that's the jihad that I'm doing. I'm fighting for my rights, for the right of every girl. This jihad is through pens and through books.
And you're not going to give up?
No, never. I'm never going to give up. People would think that they can kill me again.
And they've threatened, Malala. They've threatened you again.
They have just reminded me. It's a reminder on the calendar. The thing is, they can kill me. They can only kill Malala. But it does not mean that they can kill my cause as well. My cause of education, my cause of peace, and my cause of human rights, my cause of equality, will still be surviving. They cannot kill my cause.
What do you do that's girly? What do you like in movies, music, books?
The first and the important thing in my life is that I raise my voice against my brothers. So, and because they're still brothers and I am like the only daughter. So it's very necessary to fight against them and to raise our voice against them. And other than that, when I was in Pakistan, I liked Western music like Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez. But when I came here, when I came to UK, then I was missing my own Pashto music and Urdu music. That's why now I listen to Pashto songs a lot. Because when we just are deprived of something, then we miss it a lot. And the same was the education in Swat. Before the terrorism, we were going to school. It was just a normal life and carrying a heavy bag and doing homework daily and being good and getting high marks. We could not understand what we are doing. Why are we going to school? But then later on, when the terrorists came, when they stopped us from going to school, I got the evidence. And they showed me a proof that yes, the terrorists are afraid of education. They are afraid of the power of education. And if a woman gets education, then she becomes more powerful. And we all know that the terrorists are afraid of the power of women as well. So now, at that time, we realized that yes, education is important because it was snatched from us. So I would like to tell every girl in UK, in America, in the countries, in the developed countries where education is available to them, that go to schools and realize its importance before it is snatched from you, as we have been suffered from that situation. So going to school, doing homework on time, being good to teachers and being good to each other, it's a very important part of life. So go to school.
I need to introduce you to my son. Malala, you can see we have some wonderful young people here, and people are so eager to come and listen to you. And there is a question from the audience. Zara, I believe. Where are you, Zara?
I'm here. Hello.
Come on and ask your question.
Hi, Malia. My name is Zara Abdullah. I'm from Jamaica, Queens, New York, and I have a question for you. I want to know, when you did your first journal entry in the BBC Urdu blog, did you ever think your story would have such a profound impact on the world?
At that time, when I said the first diary of the first day when I was talking to the BBC correspondent, I did not know that is anyone going to listen to it? Would it be heard by anyone? Does it have an impact? But I was sure about one thing, that Malala, you are doing what you should do and what's your responsibility. Because I believe that when your people, when your land are in such a hard and such in a difficult situation, then you must speak. So at that time, I spoke. So I was not realizing that is anybody listening to it, but then later on, when I found that the whole world listened to it, they read it, and they tried to understand what was happening in Swat. So yes, we do not realize at that time, but when we speak, our voices are heard. And I would like to tell every girl that whenever they need to speak, and if they want to speak, they must. And they must not think that writing just one article would not bring change. Writing, having one interview with that channel, it doesn't have an impact. It has. It's the best you can do. And it was the best that I could do. And we did it.
Okay, thank you for answering my question.
Thank you, Zara. That was a really good question. You got a really good answer. I think you said that you wanted to be a doctor, but your dad wanted you to be a politician. You wrote very nicely about that in your book, and you said, no, I don't want to be a politician. This was before. Now, you write that one of your heroes, one of the people you admire the most, was Benazir Bhutto, Pakistan's first female prime minister, and also someone who was brutally murdered by the Taliban. Tell me about Benazir Bhutto and what she means to you, and do you want to be Prime Minister of Pakistan?
When I was in Swat, and it's the culture that a woman can only be a doctor or a teacher if she gets education. Otherwise, she has to be a housewife and feed the children and live a life according to what man says in just the four boundaries of a house. I was thinking to become a doctor because everyone in our classroom says they want to become a doctor. But when I was looking at the situation of Swat, when I saw that the government is not taking an action, and when I saw that the responsible people are not saying anything, and then later on, I realized that becoming a doctor, I can only help a small community, but by becoming a politician, I can help my whole. So I will ensure, doctors, that there would be no more patients who are being shot and who, I know like some doctors might be feeling a bit bad.
No, they understand, don't worry.
I know that. We also want patients, but we want those patients who are not being treated that much harshly. And I want to become a Prime Minister of Pakistan, and I think it's really good. Because through politics, I can serve my whole country. I can be the doctor of the whole country, and I can help children to get education, to go to school. I can improve the quality of education, and I can spend much of the money from the budget on education. And I can also concentrate on the foreign affairs. So, so I think politics is a good field to work.
You still have huge dreams. They didn't take that away from you.
They only can shoot a body, but they cannot shoot my dreams. And I think my dreams are living. The important thing is that they shot me because they wanted to tell me that we want to kill you and stop your campaign, but they did a mistake, a biggest mistake. They insured me and they told me through that attack that even death is supporting me, that even death does not want to kill me. And now I'm not afraid of death. First I might have been, but now I'm totally not afraid of death. And when I look at the support of people, then I'm sure that this cause is never going to die. And we will see that a day will come, every child, whether girl or boy, whether black or white, whether Christian or Muslim, he or she will be going to school, inshallah.
Tell me, when you were a young girl, younger than you are now, in the Swat Valley, did you ever even hear of the Nobel Peace Prize?
We read about Nobel Peace Prize because we have a great, the scientist, a physicist. He was Abdus Salam. His name is Abdus Salam, and he won the Nobel Nobel Prize in Physics. So that was a really like a great honor for Pakistan that he won the Nobel Prize, and we were really feeling proud of him when we used to read about him in the book. So I only read about Nobel Prize in the book.
And did you read about, do you know some of the great people who've won the Nobel Peace Prize?
Yes, like great people like Nelson Mandela, to whom I met. He's a really great personality. And I also like Nelson Mandela. And so there are great people who are winning Nobel Peace Prize, and I think they deserve it. And last year, who won the prize, one of them was Tawakkul Karman, and she was the one who awarded me with a Children's Peace Prize. So when I met her, I think she deserved that. And everyone who has got the Nobel Peace Prize, they deserve it. But when I think of myself, I have a lot to do. So I think that it's really an early age, and I would feel proud when I would work for education, when I would have done something, when I would be feeling confident to tell people, yes, I have built that school, I have done that teacher's training, I have sent that much children to school. When I would be feeling proud, then if I get the Nobel Peace Prize, I would be saying, yeah, I deserve it somehow. Still, I need to work a lot. I need to work a lot. and I must work a lot.
So what happens Friday morning if you get it?
If I get the Nobel Peace Prize, I think it would be such a great honor and more than I deserve. And it would be a responsibility as well. Because I already consider education as a part of my life. I want to work for it. It's a campaign, and I think it is my life. So Nobel Peace Prize would help me to begin this campaign for girls' education. But the real goal, the best goal that I want to get and for which I'm thirsty and for which I want to struggle hard, that is the award to see every child to go to school. That is the award of peace and education for every child. And for that, I will struggle and I will work hard.
Ziauddin, you have your hands full.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us here at the 92nd Street Y. Thank
nice
you,
of you.
Thank you so much.
Ziauddin,
And
and thank you,
the
Malala.
people who are here in this park. Thank you. Can we stand for that? You can.